So Bhagavatam is case studies. And Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. Bhagavatam is about Krishna. And we are going to discuss Bhagavatam today and tomorrow. And Bhagavatam is considered as the most important scripture for this day and age, because Bhagavatam will give you pacification of the heart. It will give you shelter. It will help you come closer to Krishna and experience a tangible relationship with God. Srimad Bhagavatam, Madeka Bandhu Matsangin Madguru Madmahadana Madnistaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. Sanatana Goswami has explained that Madeka Bandhu, my best friend, is Srimad Bhagavatam. No, I'll keep it here. He says, Srimad Bhagavatam is my best friend. Madeka Bandhu Matsangin. My associate is Bhagavatam. Madguru, my guru. Srimad Bhagavatam is my guru. Madguru, Madmahadhana. My greatest wealth is Srimad Bhagavatam. Madnistaraka Madbhagya. My deliverer is Bhagavatam. Madbhagya, my greatest fortune is Bhagavatam. Madananda Namostute, my greatest source of happiness is Srimad Bhagavatam. So, our ancestors in the Bhakti tradition have emphatically declared that if you want to be peaceful in this crazy, bizarre material world, just read or hear Bhagavatam daily for a few minutes at least. And see how your life dramatically changes. See how the spiritual landscape of your life gets altered beyond your wildest imagination. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. No point speaking all theory. You have to do it to experience it. You don't go to a doctor and say, first cure me, then I'll take your medicine. No, you need to have some reasonable faith. There is a difference between blind faith and reasonable faith. What is blind faith? Blind faith is, well, anybody who has a white coat and a stethoscope dangling on his neck is a doctor. So then you will meet a lot of quacks who will cheat you. And blind faith is also that all those who are in white coat and stethoscope, they're all frauds. I reject all of them. Rejecting everything is also blind faith. Accepting everything is also blind faith. Reasonable faith is, okay, he claims to be a doctor. Where is he studied from? Okay. Who are the people he has cured? Okay. Since how long is he practicing? Okay. I have some reasonable faith now. Let me try his medicines. But again, you can't say first cure me and then I will take the medicine. You can't say that. Somewhere you have to put faith. So Srimad Bhagavatam has been inspiring our great saints in the Indian tradition for so many centuries. So I appeal to you, please invest some reasonable faith, study Srimad Bhagavatam and see how your life changes beautifully. Krishne Sadama Upagate Jnana Dharma Bihi Saha Kalo Nashta Drishamesha Puranarko Dhunodita. When Krishna left this world, Jnana, Dharma, both of them also left with him. Knowledge and righteousness, that also left. But Kalo Nashta Drishamesha. So then when Krishna left, knowledge left, righteousness left. So there was only darkness in Kali Yuga. At that time we needed sun. When there is darkness, we need sun. And that time the sun of Bhagavatam appeared. Puran Arka means sun. Puran Arko Dhunodita, that removed all darkness. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam will give us that shelter. You may say, but why should I read Bhagavatam? As I told you, your mind may protest because we are used to a life of stimulation. You want a kick. Like if you are bored, what do? You have Srimad Bhagavatam here and you have your smartphone here. Which one will give you a stimulation? Bhagavatam or phone? Huh? Bhagavatam will give you stimulation. Wow, congratulations. So this is Bhagavatam verses, my book here. And this is my phone. Let's say I want a kick, I want a stimulation. What do you recommend? Phone. Thank you. Being honest. Perfect answers. Phone will give you a stimulation. Phone is a stimulant. The electronic screen, the dopamine kick. Yes. Just keep on scrolling. But if you want satisfaction, deep satisfaction, and then you have both in front of you, Bhagavatam and this. Which one will give you satisfaction? Bhagavatam. Unfortunately, many of us, we equate stimulation with happiness. We think I'll be happy if I get constant kicks. And that's why we prefer the phone. But this doesn't give us happiness in the long run. And this is like a painkiller. And Bhagavatam is like medicine. Sometimes we need a painkiller. But many of us have got addicted to painkillers. And that's disastrous. Imagine a person has a pain in the chest. And the doctor tells him to take all these medicines. But then his friend tells him, just take this painkiller. This just costs a few cents. Painkiller. Just take one pill. Pain gone. You say, oh, this is so easy. I don't have to go through the long, tedious process of taking medicines. Let me take a painkiller whenever I have a pain in the chest. What do you think will be the result of this approach? What do you think will happen in the long run? If somebody substitutes medicine with painkiller, what will happen in the long run? Wait, raise your hand if you know the answer or you would like to share. What will happen if you don't take medicines but instead take only painkiller?
No.
Yes, wait.
The problem gets worse.
The problem gets worse. How does the problem get worse?
You're not treating the source of the problem.
You're not treating the source of the problem. Yes. Anything else that will happen?
Addiction.
Addiction to painkiller. Anything else that will happen? Sorry? Overdose. Yes. So why the overdose will happen?
Or not, painkillers stop working. Like initially it start working, but then
Yes. That's why she said you need an overdose, because once there is chest pain, you take one painkiller, the pain will go, but after some days you have to take 2 painkillers to reduce that pain. Then you need 3 painkillers, and once at some point of time you will have to take a lot of painkiller and still the pain will persist. The painkiller won't give us a lasting solution. Similarly, the phone is a stimulation, it's a painkiller. When you are sad and lonely, we pick up Netflix, watch web series, binge watch 6 hours, 7 hours. We think, I can forget all my miseries. Sab bhul jao. So you have taken a painkiller. Congratulations. The pain has numbed. Now you are peaceful. But again, after some time, the loneliness will attack. I don't know. Then what will you do? Again, painkiller. A time will come when you will have so many painkillers, when you will be watching the whole day, you will be watching the television or screen, but still you will feel lonely. Nothing will satisfy you. You will be like miserable despite having a plethora of sense objects and stimulation. Is this clear?
Yes.
So when we take painkillers all the time, it doesn't, at some point of time, it stops helping. Similarly, when we prefer stimulation over satisfaction, at some point of time, despite all stimulants, we will not be happy. Therefore, don't substitute the Bhagavatam for the phone, unless you are reading Bhagavatam on the phone. Now, why we don't like Bhagavatam or why we are not so attracted to scriptures is because, first of all, it's not a stimulant. It doesn't give a kick. It goes deeper. Secondly, it doesn't guarantee shortcuts. See, we want immediate answers. We want to be happy. We are happiness addicts. We think the goal of life is to be happy. Srimad Bhagavatam says no. Srimad Bhagavatam challenges you right in the beginning that life's purpose is different. It's not happiness. So that's why many people, they get filtered. They say, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with Bhagavatam. I'm okay. Because I want to be happy and Bhagavatam is not promising happiness. Then why should I read Bhagavatam? But Narad Muni explains in the first canto, 5th chapter, what does Bhagavatam actually give? Taseva heto prayate tako vido na labhyate yad pramatam uparyada talabhyate dukkha vadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramasa. He says ramasa. A great force called Kala, time, is going to attack us. What happiness are you seeking? Seek that. Taseva heto prayate tako vido. Use your intelligence to seek that which cannot be obtained. Na labhyate yad brahmatam uparyada. Something that cannot be obtained by traveling all over the world. Some people may leave India and come to America thinking I'll be happy in America. But be honest, are you really happy compared to being in India? One Prabhuji told me, Prabhuji, when I left India, coming to America, I thought I'm going to be happy. So I packed my suitcases, many suitcases. I came to India, America, and then I realized after coming here, after some years, that I had packed many suitcases, and one of the suitcases I had packed was filled with suffering. And that suitcase opened here. So we cannot escape. Tal labhyate yad. So what should we do? Narad Muni says, Tal labhyate dukkha vadanyata sukham. Don't seek happiness, because happiness you will automatically get. Just like you get suffering without asking. What is this? Special effects? Wow. Talabhyate dukkhavat anyata sukham. Bhagavatam says, don't seek happiness, because you will get happiness just like you get suffering without asking. Anybody here who prays to God, oh God, please let me face a job loss, or let me face a loss in my business? Anybody here who ever prays that, oh God, let me meet with an accident, let my house catch fire, let my loved one die, let me get a deadly disease, Krishna, please, please. Do we pray like that? But don't we get all of this in our lives without praying? Without asking for it, don't we get? So Narad Muni says, just like you don't ask for suffering and you get suffering. Similarly, don't ask for happiness, because you'll get it anyways. That's part of life. Kabhi kushi, mostly gum. मिलता है थोड़ा, फिर निकल जाता है. So this is a part of life. Don't be crazy. Talabhyate dukkha vadanyata sukham, because kalena sarvatra gabhira ramasa. There is a force called Kala, time, which is extremely powerful. And time will ensure that you go through happiness, suffering, birth, disease, old age, death. So this is not worth it. Seek something which is beyond happiness and distress of this material world. Seek a purpose-centered life. That is the appeal of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when we seek that kind of a life, you will see devotees who seek that kind of life, they are generally peaceful. They are generally peaceful during greatest calamities, and they're able to contribute meaningfully. Therefore, Bhagavatam is pushing us. Come on. Don't be an animal. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pashubir samanam. So there are 4 things common to humans and animals. What are those 4? Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha. Eating, sleeping, sex life and defending. These 4 are common to humans and animals. Samanyametat Pashubir Naranam. Humans and animals engage in those 4 activities. But there is something special about humans. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Adhik vishesh. The special quality of humans is the ability to inquire about spiritual truths. Who am I? Why am I suffering? What is the goal of life? And if you don't have this pursuit, dharme nahina pashubir samana. Without this, we are simply well-dressed, sophisticated, two-legged, polished animals. That's a very strong language. But that's what, see, Bhagavatam is meant to shake us. Bhagavatam is meant to, Bhagavatam's goal is to shake the comforted. Oh, come on, wake up. Uttishtata jagrita prapya varanyabodhata. Wake up. Get up. You have a goal in life. You have a great benediction. You got human form of life. Come on this path. Churasya dara nishita duratya. Come on this spiritual path which is extremely dangerous and it's like a razor's edge. And so say, Kavayo vadanti, great philosophers have said that this is a very difficult path. Come on. So this kind of statements are supposed to inspire the reader and inspire him to leave everything and embark on a spiritual journey. In fact, till 50 years ago, you know, those people who joined ashrams and became sadhus, if you ask them, how did you become a sadhu, Babaji? How did you leave everything? How did you go in search of God? They'll say, I read this verse when I was at home. I read this verse when I was in college. I was reading Upanishads and I came upon this shloka. Leave everything and search for spiritual truth, which is a very difficult path. When I read that, I got inspired. I wanted to rise above mediocrity. I wanted to know the goal of life. I wanted to do something spectacular. And I embarked. Imagine telling that now. Come, if you say, please come to Hare Krishna. It's a very difficult path. Very challenging. Come. How many will come? People will run away. But see, look at the way things have changed. Earlier, spiritual life would be exciting for those who wanted some challenge, who wanted to rise above eating, sleeping, sex life and defending. Now we want spiritual life to make our eating, sleeping, sex life and defending better. We want a better social life through spiritual life. Earlier, spiritual life definition was different. If you go to the ashrams in Haridwar, Rishikesh, Ayodhya, Chitrakoot, Vrindavan, these Babajis, these ashrams, you will see very few people there. They never went and advertised. They never went and preached. They simply caught interested people. I'll repeat. What was their formula? Catch interested people. But Srila Prabhupada came and he changed the whole game. What did he do? He created interest in people. So even many of us, we were not interested in spiritual life when we were young. We just wanted to have fun. But he created interest in us by giving us stories, prasadam, gulab jamuns. And he said, oh, come on, chant Hare Krishna, dance, be happy. And we were like, yes. And he pulled us in. So and then he gave us philosophy and we read Bhagavatam and we understood, goal of life is not happiness. So he created interest in people. And now we have to even go lower. Earlier it was, what it was earlier? Catch interested people. Then Prabhupada came and made it create interest in people. And nowadays we have to take care of people's interest. They are not at all interested in spirituality. Whatever their interests are, we have to mollycoddle them. But don't cry. Please be happy. We have to give self-help, motivational talks. So we give them all this stuff, meditation, relaxation, so that they can do better enjoyment in life. So spirituality nowadays simply means feel good. I just want to feel, I go to temple, I feel so good, nice. That's spirituality. That's not Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a whole different paradigm. And that's why many people don't come and read Bhagavatam. But if you understand that Bhagavatam is going to offer us something spectacular, something wonderful, then our lives will dramatically change. Because Bhagavatam does two things. One is it shakes us to the core. It makes us realize there is no happiness in this material world. And second, Bhagavatam gives us Krishna, the beautiful, compassionate Krishna, And that connection gives us an experience beyond the happiness of this material world. So on the one hand, Bhagavatam removes our faith from this material world, and on the other hand, it gives us hope and experience of a higher reality. So imagine you're going in a boat, you're riding on a boat, and there's a hole in the boat. The boat is sinking. Imagine. And you are oblivious, and you're enjoying in the boat. Wow, I'm enjoying. But the boat is about to sink, but you're not aware. And then Bhagavatam comes to your life. You know what Bhagavatam does? Bhagavatam is like a person who comes in a beautiful big ship in front of you. And Bhagavatam is saying two things. My dear friend, see your boat, there is a hole. And you are like, yeah, I'm going to drown. So Bhagavatam's first job is to make you realize that your boat has a big hole and your boat is going to sink. And you are like, if you keep hearing your friend who's in that ship, you are like, yes, and you get into depression. And that's when he will say, don't worry, but I'm there, come into this ship. Thank you. And then you go into that ship. That's Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam will make you realize that material goals, material hopes are hollow. But Krishna is that ship, and Krishna can give you that comfort. But many of us are attached to our boat. When somebody comes and tells us there is a hole in the boat, we say, get out! Don't tell me. Don't tell me anything. Hope dies last. We don't want to lose hope from material existence. So therefore, we don't hear Bhagavatam. We are like driving in a car, full speed, on top of a hill, and it's going to go straight and then fall into a cliff. And devotees speaking Bhagavatam are like people standing in between us who are going in a car and that cliff. The devotees are standing in between and saying, wait, U-turn. Stop. U-turn. And we are like thinking, crazy fellow, what is he saying? He doesn't have a car, that's why he's crying. But devotees are saying, go back. See, U-turn. See, our Tilak also says U-turn. Go back. Go back. This material world is not a great place. This is crazy. Everything is going to end. We're going to die. But it doesn't cause depression because we are immediately also given Krishna. The hole in the boat will not give us depression if we know that there is a beautiful ship waiting for us. But we will not be excited by that ship because we are comfortable in the boat. So Bhagavatam has to first convince us that there is a hole in the boat. That's why Bhagavatam repeatedly tells us this material world is full of suffering. And then you are like, yes, this is true. You get shaken. And then you look at Krishna, and then there is a whole different experience. See, if a person has fallen into a well, and there are scorpions, snakes, bees stinging him, and he's like suffering in the well. And a friend comes from above the well and throws a rope. He says, come on, I'll pull you out of the well. And imagine this fellow says, I won't come out. I'm comfortable here. So then what can he do? He can't pull him out. He can't forcefully pull him out. But if the scorpion starts stinging him, if the snakes start biting him, then he gets miserable in the well, then he will hold the rope. So we need two things. We need pull from the above and a kick in our butt. So material world is a great package. Our life will give us kicks and Bhagavatam will pull us out. That combination is what Bhagavatam is assuring. You will see those who sincerely study Bhagavatam, they are very sober. I know many grihasthas, you're all grihasthas, I'm telling you, I know many grihasthas who made small WhatsApp groups. They meet every day for 10 minutes. They just discuss one verse for 10 minutes. Their realizations on that verse, they read the purport. That's it, time to time. But over the period of 1 or 2 years, they have found major change in their consciousness. It gives you okay. I'll give an example of one latest example I'll share. See, I write journals every day morning. So I'll share with you one journal entry. Is that okay? Because what I do, there's many different kinds of journals. One of the journals I write is called scriptural journal. I read Bhagavatam and then I write an essay on whatever I read or whatever I'm going through based on what Bhagavatam says. So I wrote this 3 days after the tragic Air India crash. So I'll just read from my journal, see if this resonates with you. If it doesn't, no problem. But the point I'm saying is how Bhagavatam gives us something which this world cannot give. It gives us an insight, it gives us a perspective, it gives us an aerial vision to our life and makes us strong in our duties in this material world. Okay? So Air India crash. After 3 days, this is what I wrote in my journal. Why I turned off the news and opened the Bhagavatam. How news media triggers curiosity, but Srimad Bhagavatam awakens compassion. So this is not an air crash story. This is a wake-up call. This is what Bhagavatam does. Bhagavatam is always gives us a wake-up call about what we are feeding our minds. What are you feeding your mind right now? Who are we trusting to guide our hearts? Who is guiding your heart now? So I'm just sharing what I've written in my journal. So recently I was praying for the victims of the Air India crash. So we were told, the announcement was made, we saw the news, it was devastating. And then we offered prayers, we chanted rounds, japa for them. So then during that time, I was struck by a sobering realization. The news channels, the realization I got was, because I read Bhagavatam, I got this realization. If I had not read or heard Bhagavatam, I wouldn't have got this realization. The realization I got was, news channels and the media are not our friends. When my prayers are driven by what I have seen or read in the news, they often feel shallow, almost theatrical. There is some emotion when I pray after hearing news, but that is mostly on the surface. That emotion is on the surface. It's like being moved to tears by a well-edited movie trailer. It touches the heart. The news channels, they tell us something which touches the heart, but it doesn't transform. What does news media do? News media feeds sugar to the brain. Just like when you eat sugar, you get a kick. When you eat chocolate, you get endorphins. So the brain gets that through news. They give you a high, they give you a kick, like a cheap dopamine rush. So when I read a tragic story in the news or watch a news, and then I pray for the people who suffered, I have always found that the compassion I feel is often curiosity driven. There is a curiosity driven compassion. Oh, what is happening? How many people have died? What is the news? So it's reactive and it's also compulsive. It's not meditative or transformative. When people are suffering, we need to be meditative, and our prayers have to be transformative for us also and for the victims also. So I realized that when I was praying, without the Bhagavatam in place, I was not being led to God. I was not being led to Krishna. I was being pulled into the noise of the news. Everywhere there is a lot of noise. Then I remembered the line which I had read long back. The devil's greatest triumph is not in temptation, but distraction. So we are distracted by news, many of us. But something completely different happened to me when I prayed for these air crash victims after reading Bhagavatam. So what happened when I was reading Bhagavatam, I was in a sacred space. I'm connecting to Krishna through his holy names, through his pastimes. And then my heart, I've seen it opens in a different way. It just opens up. When I'm praying, my prayers feel fuller. My prayers feel deeper. And those prayers are rooted in spiritual identity, that Krishna, this world is suffering. I've already declared this in the Bhagavatam. Please help those who are suffering. So it's basically, there is a connection with Krishna, not just me, but even those who are suffering. I want everyone to be happy. I'm not reacting to a headline when I'm reading Bhagavatam. When I offer prayers after reading Bhagavatam, I'm responding from the level of the soul. So there are two things. There is a curiosity-driven compassion. There is compassion, but it's all curiosity-driven. What is happening? And so many different types of news comes up. Basically, when the world entertains me to feel something, that leads to curiosity. And there is compassion, but it's like entertainment also. But there is something called as connection-driven compassion. Compassion that comes from connection to God. That's when Krishna awakens the heart to see others as his children. So therefore, curiosity-driven compassion is sentimental, but connection-driven compassion is sacred. So Bhagavatam gives us that connection to Krishna. Shrinvatam sakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana vidantastoya abhadrani vidunoti suhursatam. When we read and hear about the Lord, the heart becomes filled with love for Krishna. And whoever loves Krishna will love all the living entities. So what happens when we read Bhagavatam, we hear about Krishna, we start to see the world through the eyes of Bhagavatam. We realize how nasty this material world is, how entangling this world is. Bhagavatam will make us realize Bhagavatam is not meant to entertain us. It's meant to awaken us. No, it's an awakening that leads to genuine compassion. In fact, I don't want to say this, but yeah, it's true. The news triggers noisy pity. It's very noisy, loud. But the soul wants longing. The soul is seeking God. So when I'm hearing Bhagavatam and then when I pray, I'm not just feeling sorry for those who have died. I feel connected to Krishna and I pray for the souls who have left their bodies. I pray for their families. I pray for my own deliverance. I remember that we all belong to Krishna. We are not tourists in this tragedy. You know, tourists will go to places, they'll take photographs, they'll see what is, they are curiosity driven. If we are tourists, we keep jumping to different news. What does this news channel say about the tragedy? What is this news channel saying? What is he saying? Oh, this is an interesting news. Oh, this is something. We are jumping to different news for entertainment. We are not become servants of those who are suffering. So Bhagavatam will make you a servant of those who are suffering. You will want to serve them. But simply reading news will keep us entertained. That's a crucial shift I'm talking about. News channels entertain, they titillate, they don't invoke compassion. They exploit our attention. News channels are designed to exploit our... They are designed to keep you scrolling, shocked. They want to keep you kind of moved, addicted. But Krishna consciousness leads you inward. Bhagavatam makes you go inside. It takes you to shelter, surrender and service. So what is news? News should be what? News should be just that. News. Brief. To the point. Over. Informative. And then we should immediately take shelter of Bhagavatam. Okay, I got the news. This is tragic. Now let me read Bhagavatam. Then take beads, serve prasadam like our ISKCON Ahmedabad temple. Immediately they started. Immediately they got the news. They didn't sit and keep reading. Oh, so many people have died. Okay, this tragedy has happened. Action. Devotees are praying, doing kirtan in the temple. Other group of devotees started cooking. They made prasadam packets to all the volunteers, the ambulances, whoever was serving, whoever was dying, the hospitals. So basically, let our compassion be driven by connection to God. That's what Bhagavatam does. See, in Kali Yuga, two things are very powerful. False propaganda is generally more powerful than truth. That is one problem in Kali Yuga. It's all a war of narrative. Second problem in Kali Yuga is those who exploit the suffering of others, they are generally celebrated as heroes. And we see that this happens. News channels are not our real friends. They should give us news and we should forget after reading the news and go into the actual action. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj writes in his book Journey Home that when he was a young boy, he was staying in the ashram of Vishaka Sharan Baba and there was India-Pakistan war at that time. This is 1971, December. And he's in the ashram and all the sadhus are staying there. And there is this intense India-Pakistan war which started. So the Babaji, they switch on the radio for news and they're hearing there is blackout in Delhi, there is war. And they are hearing very attentively. And after the news, they sit there soberly. Some of them have tears in their eyes. They are crying, they are praying. And then what do? They did their sadhana, what they do always. They chanted, they danced in kirtan, they connected with Krishna, they prayed for the peace. Basically, they did what they are supposed to do. They did not just sit and whole day keep discussing political analysis of the war, because that is useless. That's not going to help them, that waste of time. So the real path, see, if we don't understand Bhagavatam, then we will become, we'll binge watch news. It's as if it is Netflix. Except that instead in Netflix, you may watch fictional tragedies. And when you binge watch news, you are emotionally consuming real tragedies. Constantly, if you are on the news. We are not empathizing with those who are suffering if you are always on the news. We are only getting entertained by suffering of others. There is a big difference between empathizing with those who are suffering and being entertained by their suffering. So, let us mourn, let us feel sad, pain, but that mourning should be sacred. It should not be sensationalism. It should not be just entertainment. So let us our day should be shaped by not the news cycle, but Bhagavatam and holy names. Because when we are if we're not connected to Bhagavatam, then we'll lose real sensitivity to suffering and to Krishna. Therefore, I'm very clear right now, after this tragedy, after 3 days of being blown away by the news and then reading Bhagavatam, I realized one thing. I want my compassion to be driven by connection to Krishna, not by curiosity or dopamine kicks. I want to feel the pain of this world. I want to feel others suffering. But I want to feel that in a way that drives me closer to Krishna, not further into the claws of distraction. So Bhagavad Gita says, Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti advat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarvesham na shanti mapnoti na kama kami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, that person alone can achieve peace. So Bhagavatam is not information like the news channels. Bhagavatam is transformation. Bhagavatam is not stimulation. Bhagavatam is for satisfaction. It tells you, news will tell you what happened. Bhagavatam will tell you why it matters, why this is important for us to right now connect with the Lord. In this age, Bhagavatam will stand as the light in this age of darkness. It is a friend in betrayal. It is truth amongst all the noise that we hear. So let the news flow. News is like rivers. Let it keep flowing. But let my heart be fixed in the ocean of Krishna consciousness. Because the real compassion will grow when we are connected to God. Otherwise, it's all noise. And Bhagavatam will make us realize, oh, this is suffering. And already been hearing about it in every Bhagavatam class. This is just getting confirmed. This world is not our home. People think if we keep hearing how this world is suffering, we'll become pessimistic. No, that's the beauty of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam makes us realize this world is suffering, and when we see suffering in this world, we become compassionate because we've already known it. Most of us who don't read Bhagavatam, we think the world is a happy place for my enjoyment. Then when we go through suffering, we become extra depressed because it has smashed our hopes. But Bhagavatam has already smashed our hopes. So therefore, when real things happen in our life, we are like, okay. Like I'll tell you a classic example. Just last week I was in Seattle. I know one couple who've been wanting a child for almost 8-9 years. They were intensely praying. They did so many things, so many puja, so many yajnas, what all they did. Nothing happened. After 8 years, finally they had a child. Now I could see both of them are glowing. They are so happy. And that Prabhu is saying, Prabhu, still when I get up in the morning, I'm like, I can't believe we have a baby. I still feel that's a dream because they were so desirous. Every day they were praying intensely. So after 8 years, Krishna has blessed them with a baby. And they were so happy. They came to me, Prabhu, please bless us. We are so grateful, Prabhu. And, I could clearly see their, the face completely changes when you become a parent. The joy was palpable. And they were like, Prabhuji, please give us some instruction. And very humbly I told them, please do 3 things. First, continue to, because he said, 24/7, we are only with our baby. I said, first thing, continue to do what you are doing. Just give yourself completely to your baby. That is first thing. Second, keep telling stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata to the baby. So let the sound vibration enter and let the child get attached to God in his own way. The second thing, keep playing Ramayana, Mahabharata stories and all that. And you keep giving love. These 2 things. Third, most important, both of you, Prabhuji and Mataji, you had your baby you have been desiring for so long. Now every day, for a few minutes, please, I beg you, read or hear Bhagavatam. And they said, yes. They were happy. I said, wait, don't you want to know why I told you to read Bhagavatam? So then they said, yeah, why Prabhuji? I said, what? Because you are very attached to your child, are you not? They said, yes, Prabhuji, we are attached. And do you know one law in material world? There is a law. Like you throw this, why does it come down? What is the law? Law of gravity. And there is some law in this material world also like that. Just like there is law of gravity, there is a bigger law called law of suffering. Anything you enjoy or anything you get attached to, that will give you double the amount of suffering. X amount of enjoyment is equal to 2x amount of suffering. This is a law. You can't say, I don't agree with it. You may agree or not agree. That is a reality. Attachment brings suffering. So, your child will grow up. In some form or the other, this attachment of yours will bring you pain. I don't know how it will bring pain. I don't want to make you depressed. I just want to keep you forewarned that this will bring you eventually pain. So at that time, if you have already read Bhagavatam every day for a few minutes, and when that pain comes, you will be able to take it. You will not jump into Netflix that time to run away from the pain. You will be able to embrace that pain. And in this world, there is no shortcut to embracing pain. You have to be strong. We are taught to avoid pain. How much will you avoid? How much will you run? You can't. So then they understood what I was saying. I said, please, when suffering and misery comes, be ready. Bhavanam tu kupasakananam pratyudhuma kidrisha. The Vedic scriptures say, what is the use of digging a well when the house is on fire? When do you dig a well? After the house catches fire? Or before the house catches fire? Before. So when the house catches fire, you have the water to draw from the well. Similarly, when do we read Bhagavatam? Okay, I'm in stress. Let me read Bhagavatam today. No. It's a culture. Read Bhagavatam every day. Read about all the stories, the verses, the purports. Let it nourish you. And then when tragedies strike, you are peaceful. Like this Air India crash was devastating news. Devotees were crying, but they were also, we think two emotions cannot exist simultaneously, but they always exist simultaneously. There is ambivalence. You feel happy also and feel miserable also at the same time. So we were miserable, but we were also peaceful. That Krishna is there. Krishna takes care. We don't know how. But when we are attached to our life in this world and we think this is all in all, then nothing makes sense. We can't understand. But Bhagavatam catapults us to higher reality, and then we are, okay, I'm suffering here, but I have to go back. So let us take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Devatas have prayed in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter. Samashritaye padapallavaplavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budirvatsa padam param padam 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 yad vipadham natesham padam. At every step there is danger in this material world. Every step. Padam yad vipadham. But what happens? Samashritaye padapallavaplavam. But when we take shelter of Krishna, Mahat Padam Punya Yasho Murare. Murari, the liberator, he will deliver us. Bhavam Budir Vatsa Padam Param Padam. This material world is like an ocean of suffering. When you take shelter of Krishna, this ocean becomes as small as water contained in the hoof print of a calf. It becomes small. You can just jump over it. So therefore, we cannot change the law of gravity. We cannot change the law of suffering. But we can transcend the sufferings of this world by getting an anti-gravitational thrust. We can go beyond this world. Our hearts would be beyond this world. At the same time, our feet would be firm on this earth. So we'll be able to serve, contribute meaningfully while being in this world. At the same time, aspire for a higher reality beyond the sufferings that this world brings. So with this humble appeal, I request all of you to have a culture of reading or hearing Bhagavatam every day. There are beautiful Bhagavatam. See, let's say you're cooking, you have no time. You can play Bhagavatam classes of Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, Amarendra Prabhu. There are such nectar in the internet. Hear that classes and do your cooking. And then also read 5 minutes or discuss with your partner, with your family, 10 minutes, 5 minutes every day. And see the difference it makes after 1 year. You will be like very sober, very peaceful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I'll pause here. Any comments or questions?
Third instruction.
Third instruction? I told you, no? First was, I'll tell you. First was, give complete love to that child like you are giving now. Second, start telling stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata to a child. Because Ramayana and Mahabharata are very powerful. Okay, those of you who don't know, and those of you who are small babies or children, please know Ramayana and Mahabharata are extremely powerful for developing the Panchakoshas. See, the soul is covered by 5 sheaths. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. This is Annamaya, which is physically seen body. And then there is the air body, the breath, Pranamaya. So that also, many of us are insecure. We live in fear. But when we read Ramayana and Mahabharata, our insecurities go. When we deeply study, your breath becomes normal. You become less fearful. And then there is Manomaya, your feelings, your emotions are in control. And Vijnanamaya, your ability to decipher deeper things grows. And when you become a teenager or 20s, 30s, you will seek spirituality. And Anandamaya, that peace sheath also is nourished. So Ramayana and Mahabharata are very important. So I was telling them about that. And third was for both of them. For them to cushion against the setbacks that this world will give. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments regarding today's class?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
I have a question about the people in this world, normally to buy houses, we are finding out the places, right? Which place is good, east, west, north, south, and which is good for our families, and that we are very, very small points. Every human are looking into that.
Vastu.
Right? Vastu kind of. But nobody is looking for what is my end life. If I want to die, where I wanted to go, in which place, where I wanted to, die, where I need Agni Sanskar.
That nobody talks.
So that's why I'm saying but Bhagavatam is I'm to say, if we are more spiritual in that, so to connect with the Krishna and that, in deeper, I'm just thinking that way. Is that right or something?
What is right? You are saying to connect with Krishna. Obviously it is right.
Yeah.
I'll give you one simple example. Now, I'll not tell their names. One couple, one family I know, husband, wife and son. Son is now 13 years old. When the child was 6, parents came to Krishna consciousness. Husband, wife and son. Listen to this carefully. This Air India crash happened 2 weeks ago? 1.5 weeks ago. Now, But 3 weeks before Air India crash, these three family, the family of three, they are very close to me. So I know them since last 7 years. They started coming for my Bhagavatam classes. They hear Gaurang Darshan Prabhu's classes. They read Bhagavatam. They chant. They have deities at home. They are like all of you. But the Prabhuji is not chanting 16 rounds. He's just chanting few rounds. But the Mataji is very fixed up. She is chanting 16. She worships deities. And the son is very attached to the mother. So he's also chanting few rounds. Very sweet family. And every year they go on a holiday to sometimes Canada, Australia, like that. So for 3 weeks they go on a holiday. So this year they went to somewhere in Europe. So this is 2-3 weeks before the Air India crash. They were coming from Amsterdam by KLM Airlines and the engines failed. Now the pilot, this is just happened. I can connect you to this family if you want. Just to tell you the power of Bhagavatam. I'm just telling you the story. This is a true story. I can connect you to this family. This family is very close to my heart. So now, there is premonition. His mother, she never asked him about details of travel and all that. But she's texting him constantly. Send me the photograph of your ticket. When are you arriving in Mumbai? She's asking him repeatedly. Because she got a feeling something's going to go wrong. Here they're in the plane and the engines, something happened. The engines, I don't know the technical things for it. But the engines malfunctioned. So the pilot announced matter-of-factly that we are trying to salvage the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying our best, but the engines have, so they have to, it seems they have to dump off a lot of fuel before they have emergency landing because the plane can't land with so much of fuel, something like that. So the plane was circling in the ocean and they were dumping off fuel and all the passengers know that they can die. So it says how people are screaming, crying. In fact, the air hostess was coming around telling you can pray. Be positive. She was telling everyone. So they were all like cheering up each other, but they were crying, screaming. All that was happening. So these three were seated on this husband, wife and son. You know what they did? The Mataji cried naturally. The son also cried. But Prabhu, he took charge. And he told both of them that, we've been hearing so much Krishna consciousness lectures. We've heard the importance of gratitude and Krishna consciousness. And then in 2 minutes, they came back to kind of their senses. And then, what the three of them did for this 25 minutes, this was going on. The next 25 minutes, they did Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, mentally, they did all of that. They started chanting Hare Krishna, Narsimharti, and they expressed gratitude to their family, to everyone. And then there was an emergency landing. And of course, there were some 25 ambulances, fire brigades, everything. It was dramatic. And the plane was, shaking violently. It was like they all thought they were going to die. But somehow they had a close shave. And when everything was normal, the passengers who were earlier crying in agony, fear, now they were screaming in joy. But both the occasions, these three people, they were like all the time prayerful, sober, equipoised, connected to God. And all the passengers noticed, this is some different family. And then what happened? Now the airlines also, see what happened, the airline company knows. This is a major trauma they gave to the passengers. So now they want to make up. So then what they do immediately, because they will give them 5-star accommodation, they will give them a party. So in the airport, they arranged a special facility for this 250 passengers. They arranged 5-star accommodation and a great, some kind of party, and everybody is cheering, laughing. And here, three of them are sober. So Prabhuji was telling me, Mataji was telling me that so many people came to them. Who are you? What are you? How could you remain so equipoised and peaceful? They were just praying to Krishna. Krishna, we don't know. And you know what the best part of this? There's a twist in this story. And that will shake you completely. So anyway, this story ended well. Everything was nice. Now they came back to Mumbai. Now they've intensified their devotional service. And when this air crash happened, I immediately called them because it was such a, anything can happen anytime. Anything can go wrong. But they were connected and rooted in Bhagavatam. And the twist in the story is, this Mataji, what is her story in life? When she was a 13-year-old girl, her family, entire family, her brothers, sisters, parents, they were all going to Shirdi. Shirdi is a holy place in Maharashtra. Mumbai, in India. So they were driving from Mumbai in a car, and in the highway there was a major accident. This is 1997. Major accident. Everybody in the car is killed instantly. And this girl, this Mataji, was a young 13-year-old girl then. Nothing happens to her. She comes out of the car and she has to take out the dead bodies of her parents, of her brothers. And there's no mobile phones during those days. So she's seen such a ghastly accident where she's lost her entire family. And that trauma has affected her for many years. Many, many years. Somehow she came out of it, and she still has fear of traveling, driving, air travel. All that fear is there because she's seen death from such close quarters. And during this most intense period, she was most peaceful. What great psychiatric healing cannot do, Bhagavatam did. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's like she was facing death and she was strong. And it's not possible for somebody who's seen some tragedy like this. In fact, the first time she came to Hare Krishna class in 2016, she was sitting in the audience. Simple Hare Krishna Kirtan I was singing. I mean, I'm not a singer. I'm not a Kirtaniya. And she was like, full Kirtan, she was crying. I said, who is this coming? I can see she's come for the first time. So I thought maybe she's really suffering because of my Kirtan. Why is she? Nobody cries in my Kirtan. Anyway, so I finished the Kirtan, I finished the class. During Prasadam, I walked up to her. I said, Hare Krishna Mataji, you come first time? And then she said, Prabhuji, I want to ask you something. I came first time today, and first time I took part in Kirtan. And I want to tell you something. I lost my she told about her parents' accident. And then she said, I took some treatment and I'm all right now. I'm going through I have a small child, I have my husband, I have a good family. And occasionally I remember my parents. It's not that I'm affected by the tragedy, but the entire Kirtan, I was only remembering my parents. Why? Why was that happening? Why was my heart filled with remembrance of my parents? Why was this happening to me? I told her, Mataji, it is because holy name connects us to the original parent. This is Radha and Krishna. Krishna is our original parent. So when you came in the shelter of the holy name, Bhagavatam class, you were connected to your original supreme parent. And because that love of the Supreme Lord comes in this world through our parents, you remembered your parents with deep gratitude. And that's why the holy name connected you to your parents with gratitude. And when I said that, she was crying more. And then after that, she got hooked to the program. She never left our. And she came to 12 rounds, 16 rounds very soon. She got deities at home, and her husband was not at all interested in spiritual life. But because he is attached to her, he became a pakka devotee. And today he does so much service for devotees. And he was not a 16 rounder, but he was always chanting. He was hearing Bhagavatam classes. Intelligent man. So this family is so grateful for Krishna consciousness. The kind of tragedy she has gone through, it would require a lot of psychiatric counseling. And now she's a second trauma. And I went to their house after this tragedy for lunch. I asked the son. The son is saying, Prabhuji, I'm so grateful we went through this incident because now we'll always be compassionate to others. I felt for suffering for so many people. No, they are actually become Vaishnavas, what Bhagavatam says. So I feel, therefore, we need to study Bhagavatam. We have to be prepared for these kind of tragedies. I don't know what you asked. I don't know what I answered. I'm sorry. I just spoke from my heart.
That is like, whatever you explain is very, very important. And I think it's for way of the people right now, materialistic life, that people need to do, like read Bhagavatam, which will help to, close with Krishna.
Yes. Should we stop here or anything else?
1 second.
You start. I'll explain on the mic.
It's very loud. I have two questions. First one is, do you think there is a coexistence of the spiritual world and the materialistic world? I mean, say, like, you have the materialistic world's pleasure to attain that you want, or do you think they coexist?
The Gita explains Rasavardham rasopesya param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. So what happens is, there are two kinds of pleasures. One is pleasure and one is happiness. Both can exist. Like for example, you're seeking some pleasure of the senses, like some ice cream or chocolate for the tongue, some pleasant music. This exists. But simultaneously, if you work on something deeper, on connecting the soul to a metaphysical reality, a reality beyond this world, then while both will exist, but your practices to connect the soul to the metaphysical space, if that keeps increasing, over a period of time, this pales into insignificance. The sensual gratification pales into insignificance because of the higher taste that we derive by connecting our soul to the supreme truth. Initially, both exist simultaneously. But as this increases more and more, this reduces. Okay?
We start to give up your materialistic pleasure as you gain more.
Yes. But we also make a small attempt to give up something. Like somebody is a chain smoker, and you also start chanting Hare Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada, he said in Krishna, in Teachings of Queen Kunti, he says, those who are attached to wine, and we invite them to our Hare Krishna temple, and we request them that when you are drinking wine, please also remember Krishna. That Krishna is the taste of this wine. Just somehow connect to Krishna. Interesting, no? There is not a license or encouragement to go and drink wine. This is for the wine drinkers to come to Krishna. This is not for Krishna devotees to go to wine. So the idea is, you somehow connect. Yena kena prakarena manha Krishna niveshya. Somehow or the other, allow your mind to get touch Krishna and experience a higher taste, while you are also pursuing your pleasures of this world. But as you increase connection with Krishna, then that higher taste will also give you strength to give up the lower taste.
Okay, my second question about curiosity that you talked about. So, we heard that curiosity can be invention as well, like the scientific.
Of course.
I want to get a little more clarification that, say, hey, curiosity can, you be susceptible to curiosity and discussion.
Yeah, I was talking about curiosity.
Explain a little bit more. Like, where do you think curiosity is beneficial versus, curiosity can.
Yes. See, when curiosity, when it is driven by, when curiosity is helping us seek a reality, seek a truth, that is healthy. But when curiosity is just making us jump from one news channel to another, just to get entertained by others' suffering, that is dangerous. Like, oh, this news channel is saying that Bhagavad Gita survived the air crash. Wow, Bhagavad Gita is great. When somebody shared that news with me, I got so disgusted. I mean, it's as if, and some Ganpati statue, nothing happened to that Ganpati deity. And it's as if, God is protecting himself and allowing others to suffer. As if our religion, as if Sanatan Dharmis are so, it just cringe, it was like, it was all those kind of sensationalizing news. We are sensationalizing people's suffering. People are dying, people are suffering in pain, and we are telling them our God is so great, he survived. Nothing happened to Bhagavad Gita. What do you mean? Bhagavad Gita can be burnt. Why did one man survived? Does that mean he's God? So Bhagavad Gita also survived. So I'm just saying, what we have done is, so what happens, we want entertainment. So we keep going to different news channels. What is this news channel? And every news channel wants TRP. So that kind of curiosity, when we are binge watching news, I was talking about that as unhealthy. But curiosity that drives you to ask deeper questions. In fact, that is encouraged in the scriptures. Scriptures are constantly saying, ask questions. Abdul Kalam, the president of India, he was very popular with the children. He would go to different schools And he has done at least 5,000 seminars for children. He was very popular with children. Iron Man. What is his name? Missile Man of India. And he's written a book called, very famous book. What is that? Huh? Fire of Wings. Yes. Wings of Fire. Sorry. Fire of Wings. Wings of Wings of Fire. And there's one more, Ignited Minds. Ignited Minds also he wrote, right? So that book I was reading, there he writes that in one particular school program, there are 5,000 children. One child asked him, "Sir, who is the world's first scientist?" So the answer he gave received a 5-minute thunderous applause. He said, so the question was, who is the world's first scientist? So he said, a child is the world's first scientist because a child has curiosity. So he was appealing. See, we as Hare Krishnas, our whole mood is we should have a seeker mentality. We should have a curiosity-driven mindset. We should want to know more. We should want to ask questions, go deeper. Otherwise, hearing Bhagavatam will be a ritual. But when we become curious and we become contemplative, then we become seekers. Otherwise, we'll become cynical. So there are two kinds of mindsets: seeker mindset and cynical mindset. So we are encouraging people to have a seeker mindset, curiosity mindset. Otherwise, we'll become cynical. You know Gautam Buddha's story? Prince Siddhartha became Gautam Buddha. How? Because he had this curiosity mindset. What is birth? You know, he went to the palace, he went into in the kingdom, and he saw somebody dying. He asked his minister, what is death? He saw somebody suffering, he saw old age. He kept asking these questions because he was protected from all suffering in the palace corridors. But when he went out and saw and he started asking questions, that curiosity led an ordinary prince to become Gautam Buddha. So we have to be curious. We have to seek truth. We have to pursue excellence. But that is to evolve and grow spiritually, not to enjoy others' suffering. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
The last question, take. Whatever you say, I have no idea of time. Somebody has to take a call.
Prabhu, this is more of a comment than question.
Yes, please.
So I have also seen that one of the reason people watch news or they are addicted to social media and all because of insecurity also, right? Like, they are insecure, right? Like, what is happening? They are always like, oh, how should I protect myself? What is going on? Especially today, we see geopolitically, it's crazy,
Wow,
right? It
crazy.
feels like we are, on a sitting time bomb or something,
Yes.
right? Everywhere. And then financially, you see,
Insecure.
job market wise, so in every way, there is a lot of insecurity. And some people, not necessarily for entertainment, but they are just simply insecure. And they are trying to protect themselves. But what they don't know is that ultimate shelter is Krishna. And, he can only provide the true shelter and protection. They are trying to use their intelligence and their ability to somehow it's like Jnana Yogi. If I learn this, if I have all the information, I can use that information to somehow protect myself and my family and my loved ones.
Yes.
But they keep failing in that.
Yes.
That's all.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. Anything else?
Hare Krishna.
Once again, my gratitude to all of you for coming for this class. Thank you so much. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.